that historically has often been used in abusive ways against marginalized communities.
Steve Clausen, California News.
Another tip from First 5 California. Teach your toddler all about shapes by creating a fun scavenger hunt. From oval eggs in the fridge to the rectangular dresser in your room, shapes are everywhere. More early math ideas at first5california.com.
They say that if you want to know a person, you should walk a mile in their shoes. Same thing goes for tires. Except Firestone knows it's not just 1 mile, it's many. With the industry-leading 90-day buy and try guarantee, you can test drive our tires for 90 days. Then if you're not fully satisfied with them, we'll refund or replace them for you. Whatever you drive, drive a Firestone.
Conditions apply. See FirestoneTire.com for details.
Change happens when you choose it. You can choose treatment and change your addiction to opioids. Medication-assisted treatment, or MAT, is a proven treatment for opioid addiction that significantly reduces the rate of relapse. Learn more at choosemat.org and choose Change California.
No matter if the market is up or the market is down, Phil Grandy and his Phil's Gang members prepared for market volatility and making profits.
Cisco in April, we're up 4%. We just got in that in April. Lockheed Martin, we're up now 7%. Facebook, we bought April 9th, we're up 10%. Morgan Stanley, we're up 11%. WLL, we bought April 1st, we're up 19%. And let's take this year. The Spiders, the S&P 500, we are up 16%. Apple, we're up 26%. Railroad, CSX, we're up 17%. And at the end of the day, when the market keeps going up and up and up, and you're in that market, you're never out in time. You ride it all the way back down, especially with your 401ks. Let's change that today. 877-600-GANG, 877-600-GANG. Let's change it today.
Don't wait. Find out more at philsgang.com or call 877-600-GANG. That's 877-600-4264. 877-600-4264.
I always hear from our clients who hired another firm that they wish they'd hired DNA Financial first. Don't have regrets about your IRS tax case. Just hire the best in the first place.
One owed $150,000 to the IRS and had spent thousands on another firm. We stopped the levies, negotiated a payment plan, and had their penalties forgiven.
And while every case is different, we guarantee that we'll find your perfect resolution and get it done right.
For a free consultation, call us at 866-201-0156. That's 866-201-0156. Then you can say, DNA did right by me.
Miss your favorite show? Download the podcast at KCAAradio.com.
Welcome to Smart Health Talk with your host, Elaine McFadden.
Take a walk on the wild side. Will the birds and the bees survive? Right before me, my newfound hippie side. Once ignored these conspiracies online. Out the window, visions of the earth. Sign me up now, make sure you use your smart. Take a walk on the wild side. Will the birds and the bees survive? Would your children ride to see Mother Nature's side?
Welcome to Smart Health Talk with your host, Elaine McFadden.
Welcome, everyone. Yeah, it's time for Smart Health Talk. And those of you that are regular listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. And those of you that are tuning in for the first time, just to give you a heads up, Smart Health Talk is pretty much what it says. Yeah, we're here to talk about smart health and how you get there. And that's what we want to teach you how to do, because we know when we start educating people on how to be healthy so they know how to make the right choices, guess what? We can prevent disease. We can prevent diabetes. Yeah, we can prevent the number one killer, heart disease. Yes, We can prevent the silent killer, high blood pressure. Yes, with food and lifestyle change. Yeah, all those things that could kill you, we teach you how to prevent it. And we also teach you how to get more nutrition bang for your buck, because we know what it's like to be pinching pennies, living on a budget. We've been there, done that, still doing that, as a matter of fact. So I got lots of practice. And I pass that on to you because I turn it into a science. I used to use coupons. I've actually filled like 3 grocery carts in one. But then I came to a realization about the coupons. They kind of force you into buying products that you don't need. And most of them were junk. Like, for example, I could get deodorant for free, but that deodorant is full of phytates, which are perfumes that are fake fragrances. And when they tested breast tumors, guess what they found in 49 out of 50 breast tumors? Phytates. Yeah. And guess what? When you're sitting there putting that deodorant right there on your lymph nodes, under your armpits, right next to your breast. So, and I also recommend no putting your cell phone in your bra or in your pocket or anywhere near your body as little as possible, because we're finding a high rate of breast cancer in young girls because they are sticking their cell phone in their bra. Okay, or falling asleep with it at night in your bed, not good. It's actually a good habit to keep your cell phone out of your bedroom when you go to sleep. There was a study done in England, and what they saw happen to watercress was really disturbing. I won't go into it here. I'm just going to ask you to trust me. And if you want to know more about cell phone safety, just look up Dr. Portier, Portier. And Dr. Portier put out one of the best cell phone studies out there a couple of years ago. And it pretty much says red flag, caution. And that's why I don't think kids should be spending a lot of time on cell phones, especially kids and pregnant women. Absolutely. Keep that cell phone away from your body. And those of you that we have podcasts. I tell you, we got podcasts for years because we've been on here for over 8 years. And we have some really good shows. And for speaking of pregnancy, those of you that like to still be looking fine while you're pregnant, because, hey, that's one of, our most beautiful times, right? But if your hair, isn't looking that great, we had a great guest from Desert Spa, and they have coloring for your hair that actually is healthy for your hair. It nourishes your hair, makes it super soft and looks super great and silky. And you have to leave it on for a few hours, but it's no big deal. You just put like a plastic bag on your head, and then I put some hot towels on it too. And it's good for your scalp as well to help stimulate hair growth. And you can get all kinds of different colors, and it's perfectly safe for when you're pregnant. So those of you that are pregnant think that you can't color your hair. That's because those other dyes have all kinds of nasty stuff in them. But Desert Spa or any of the other organic plant-based hair colors, those are safe, okay? But those are the kind of things we talk about here on Smart Health Talk. I mean, isn't that fun? Aren't these fun things? And I tell you, I have so many great things to tell you today. I have a long list here of really important things that you're going to want to know, and we're going to be going over this. And by the end of this show, you are going to be educated on things that you didn't even know you wanted to know. How about that? Okay, so, well, I'm going to have to start off with some bad news. Sorry about that, everyone. And this is just the way our world is. And you know what? Young people are starting to get pretty mad at us older people because we messed up the planet so much for them. And I knew this back in the 80s, and that's why I started selling organic produce as soon as I learned they were putting poison on it. I went, wait a minute. Poison on food? You've got to be kidding me. That makes no sense. And guess what? It's being proven over and over and over again. This stuff causes so many different diseases. The number one most used, cancer. We got 13 cases pending. We've got almost $300 million suits won because it caused cancer. The number two most used, atrazine, feminizes our men. Yeah. It lowers their testosterone big time. If they're drinking a lot of wine, they could be drinking a lot of atrazine. But it's used on corn and all these other products. I mean, things that are like supposed to be good to eat. That's what really makes me mad as a dietitian. Who wants their man feminized? I don't know. I mean, okay. Maybe some of you like your men feminized. Okay. There are couples out there that maybe that's okay. But as for me, I want my man to be a man. I want his testosterone right where it's supposed to be. I don't want anything messing with it and lowering it and feminizing our men. But it's not just feminizing our men. It's feminizing our newborn boys. And I have a great interview with Dr. Tyrone Hayes that did all the work on that on our YouTube channel. Please find us either Elaine McFadden or Smart Health Talk on YouTube. And most of all, please subscribe. I have lots of great videos that we're going to be getting up on YouTube really soon, and we've already got a bunch more of them up there. I've got like over 100 of them at least, and all of them have something special about them. So please go check out our YouTube. We've got ones that are a minute long. We've got full shows on there. We've got excerpts from our shows that we had sound bites that were some of the most important things that we thought we could tell you about. So go check out our YouTube. And of course, we're on social media. Pinterest is a really big one for us, hanging out on Twitter a lot, and just posted a bunch of really important things on Facebook today. So please go check those out and follow us on Facebook if you like. Love to feel free to send us a friend request. We'll check it out and answer it for you. Okay, so because of all this stuff that's going on, climate change, global warming, we're now predicting 1 million. Excuse me. let me get this right. 1 million species are at risk of extinction because of humans. 1 million species. Is that really what we want to be responsible for? Is that what we're all about as humans? We're here just to destroy everything and make 1 million species extinct? How many have we already been responsible for? You know, this has got to stop. Everyone is about their cell phones and watching the Kardashians and me, and what can I have? What can I buy? But I love that commercial about California where they say we're leaving the mountain, the redwoods to the redheads. I mean, I just love that commercial. I think that says it all. This planet is so special and so fragile. We're just over here just like drilling holes in it and sucking stuff out of it and poisoning it right and left, which in turn is killing things, including us. So please think about these things when you buy stuff. I can't tell you how much I wish people would get out of that grocery store. I can't even hardly stand to go in grocery stores. You know where I love to go? The farmer's market. I tell you, when you go to the farmer's market and I see the faces of those farmers and their children are like so into it too. I mean, it's just so special getting your food from them. And I get my milk, I get my meat, I get my fruits and vegetables. I get these from my local farmers from right here in the Inland Empire. I don't have to go into the grocery store and get food that has been messed with in so many different ways. And most of the gut of what's in the middle is nothing but processed crap. If it's not a real apple that's organic without pesticides on it, if it's not fresh, right from the farmer, you have no idea. And wait till I get into some of these announcements today. You're going to see what I'm talking about. Okay, now we just talked about, it says so the whole thing about the extinction. They have found that the negative impacts of climate change on snow leopard population in the Himalayas could increase the greenhouse gas emission and destroy the snow leopard habitat. And if you go find me on Facebook, oh my gosh, the video of this family of snow leopards has got to be the cutest thing you've ever seen in your entire life. Those cubs, oh my gosh. And I don't want to be responsible for killing them. Who does? But we decide this every time we make choices on how we live our life, the things that we buy. And I have some great tips later on that's going to tell us on how things that we can do to reduce global warming. So stay tuned for that. Okay, the USDA is seeking 5 nominees for the National Organic Standards Board. I wanted to make that announcement on this show. Anyone listening that knows someone that would be a great person for this is such an important job, everyone. This is the National Organic Standards Board that sets the rules for all organic agriculture in the United States. So we need good people. We need people that are experienced organic farmers, experienced in the organic industry. Those are the kind of people that we want sitting on there. So if you know anyone, they only have like 2 more weeks to get their application in. Okay, now we've had Dr. Senev, Dr. Stephanie Senev, and we have videos of her on our YouTube channel. She's incredible. She was 50 years MIT in data collection, senior researcher at MIT. I mean, like, how do you even get to that position? 50 years MIT. Anyway, she has been warning us about Lou Gehrig's disease and Roundup. Well, a new study is coming out. It says pesticides, pollutants, they contribute to Lou Gehrig's disease. All of you that did the ice bucket challenge, that's what you were doing it for. And of course, a very famous baseball player is who it's named after. But we have a lot of people getting this now. I mean, it's one of the worst diseases that you can possibly imagine. You literally waste away. It's just devastating. Okay, I don't know if you've listened to our show before. We brought to your attention. If you go on Facebook, there's Friends of Big Bear Valley and Big Bear Eagle Nest Cam. So if you just put Big Bear Eagles Nest Cam in the search, you can find it too. But oh my gosh, we have these eagles up at Big Bear, and they have 2 chicks. And it's just so, it's mesmerizing to watch them in their nest. And they have this nest cam up there, and it's absolutely adorable. And your kids would love it. So please, show them the eagles. Now, the downside is that another report came out that farm pesticides may be behind Maryland's bald eagle deaths. And we're talking like 7 dead eagles in 2 months. And they're just dropping dead like crazy. And Maryland, we have talked about Maryland many times. They have a huge amount of factory farm chickens over there. All this runoff is going into the bay. It's destroying the multi-billion-dollar seafood industry. They tried to pass laws. All the people against those laws to make it more, to save the bay, that were more interested in agriculture, put all kinds of money into defeating the Democratic governor, and they had the first Republican governor in like decades. And the first thing he did is sign away all the effort that took years to do research and put in place, and they were ready to implement it, and he stopped it all. Good old Governor Hogan. Okay, that's why who you vote for is one of the most important decisions you can make. And it was really interesting that they brought up mobile voting on one of the television shows I was watching, something we've actually discussed in our home. And I was wondering if it would ever happen. I thought, gosh, could we, everyone's on their phone all the time. If you made voting on their phone, I mean, you'd think you'd have more participation, especially young people. So I was glad to even hear it brought up. I thought, oh, that maybe there are people out there actually talking about this. Okay. So please go check out the Eagle Cam and don't use pesticides. Okay. Let's all strive to have pesticide-free cities. And as a matter of fact, I have great news. This is I love it when I actually get to have good news to announce on this show because, what have we been talking about so far? It's kind of been a little doom and gloom. Okay, but we got some good news for you, everybody. Okay, now we covered this back in 2015. We have been on top of this story. We have a huge section on our website. As a matter of fact, you can find the link on our homepage. It's actually at the very bottom of our homepage. And you can see a father and a child on a lawn. And it talks about, lawn, having lawn maintenance without pesticides, pretty much. And why that's so important. Because these weed and feeds and these pesticides that they're telling us to spray on their lawn is so wrong. We need to just leave the bugs alone. We have done studies where we just left everything alone, and what happens is the good guys start taking over. Yes, when you leave them alone, you start to end up with this huge amount of good guys and hardly any bad guys. So that's what we need to do is just quit spraying the pesticides and risking our family's health in the process. Okay, and the other pesticides we need to keep out of our home that I don't want to forget to say this, and because they have been pounding the television with commercials for all those flea and tick animal products for your dog. I tell you, those are the worst of the worst of the worst pesticides. Read the label. They say on the label, do not even touch your dog. Because if you touch your dog even, that poison could transfer to you, and it's a neurological destroyer. Those of you that have used any of these products and all of a sudden your dog started going crazy and not even acting like themselves anymore, that's because that's a neurotoxin, everyone. Yes, it's like some of the worst, and they're giving it in a pill for you guys to stuff down their throat. It's a big dose of poison. That's all it is. I just can't even believe that this poison is staying in their body, and that's how it's killing the fleas for months at a time. Does that even sound right to anybody out there? I'm telling you, do not use those things. Look up this instead. Instead of choosing these highly toxic neurotoxin flea products on your dog, which put your whole family at risk, look up cedar oil. Yeah, like cedar trees or cedar chests. I remember my grandmother had a cedar chest, and guess what? She put her stuff in the cedar chest because bugs would not get it because they don't like cedar, and they would stay away out of her cedar chest. The moths and everything else, everything would stay safe in the cedar chest. And that's where all the most important things were saved, including babies' clothing and stuff like that. Well, cedar oil also helps repel fleas and ticks. And guess what? It's safe It's not a neurotoxin. Okay, so there are alternatives. Eucalyptus, I think, is another good one, but I know cedar oil is a great one. So please check that out. Please don't poison your dog. Please. Okay. Now, we have done a really big report. I've almost finished the video. I need to get it on because it was such a great video interview that I had with someone that had been a ranger up at Big Bear for decades. And we were talking about Nestle and how they love to come from France and come over to the United States and steal people's spring water. And they had been taking water for like a century. They were paying $524 for 30 million gallons of the rarest water on the planet. Only 1% of the water on this planet is spring water, and most of it is in Canada. So for us to even have our Big Bear spring water up here was a big deal. It's like a rare thing. They are taking 30 million gallons and paying $524, and we have trees dying, we have wells going dry, we have the United States Forest Service doing absolutely nothing, and the person that allowed that contract to continue, that worked as a ranger up there, now works for guess who? Nestle. Yeah, that's where that ranger works, because they paid him for doing good by them. $524 for 30 million gallons. Who gets that? And the state is allowing them to continue to take water out of there. Why? Now, just to let you know, first of all, there is not one product that company makes that I will allow in my body. I will not buy it. I will not eat it. There's nothing that Nestle makes that I want. Okay? Just to give you an idea on just what big liars and thieves they are, Poland Spring Water, which is another brand of Nestle, they have been defrauding consumers for friggin' decades. That spring was dry decades ago. And they have been bottling water and calling it spring water, when actually it's just plain old filter water from the city reserve. And they have been selling it as spring water. I hope they come after their booties and sue the heck out of them. We need to get them out of Big Bear. One of the things you can do is quit buying Arrowhead Springs, okay? Because you're just making Nestle money. It's not helping anybody, and they're just totally ripping us off. So just don't even buy it. I tell you, I just buy the water bottles, and I go to a great place in Loma Linda where the guy has a super filter over there on Mountain View and Barton Road, and I get the most purest, cleanest water for either 25 cents for the regular or $1 for the alkaline water, which people pay, they're out there paying $1.50 for a quart, when I'm getting 5 gallons, for a couple of dollars. It's just such a waste of money. And then you're buying all that plastic and creating all this plastic. You know that one person creates 5 tons of carbon per year. That was that was a new figure that I learned today. Okay, so now hopefully everybody knows Nestle is evil. They're ripping us off right here in our own backyard. They've been defrauding other people for decades. They make the crappy food that gives you disease and speeds up your death. It's what do we need Nestle for? We don't. And so just don't even buy their products, please. And don't buy Arrowhead Springs water. Okay, now we were talking about Montgomery County too, on how that was a story we've been covering since 2015. And what happened in Montgomery County was historic. The reason we were covering that story is Montgomery County is over in Pennsylvania, and they, I'm pretty sure they're in Pennsylvania, and they wanted to become a pesticide-free county. We have non-toxic cities, so if you type in non-toxic cities, we have a bunch of cities here in California, and there's other cities all across the country that have followed suit from Montgomery County. And we now have multiple cities that have passed laws that are saying no pesticides. Now in Montgomery County and some of these other cities, they have exceptions to the rule, like golf courses. Isn't that great that golf courses can still get to use all the pesticides they've been using? Red flag, everybody. I wouldn't sit on the grass at the golf course much. And agriculture was still allowed to use it, as well as gardeners, and they weren't going to stop them from selling it, but they didn't want the city to be using it for cosmetic reasons, which was kind of a waste to be poisoning the community when there were alternatives. And that's what all these cities are doing just fine, with using alternatives, all these cities. So why can't all of us do this? Well, Montgomery County, they were the first ones to take a stand, and boy, oh boy, did all the pesticide retailers and the Farmers Association, boy, they came out of the woodwork to protest. I can't believe I have this styrofoam. I never buy styrofoam cups. It doesn't look very good. By the way, you know how long it takes styrofoam to break down in the environment? 1 million years. That's how long it takes styrofoam to break down. Please never buy styrofoam. And if you want to know more about recycling, go to smarthealthtalk.com and look at our resources tab, and we have all kinds of great information like that in our recycling section. Okay, and we have a seafood section also on the best seafood to buy and the truth about seafood, and you're going to see why that's so important when I talk about one of my other announcements here. Well, Montgomery County, when all these people came out of the woodwork just protesting this pesticide ban, of course, they got the local court to even though the county chose to pass the bill and make it pesticide free, those people then took it to court and they got it overturned. Well, it went to another court and Montgomery County won and upheld the 2015 pesticide free law that they passed. And so this is actually really, really good news. And in our last farm bill, they almost put a law in there that was going to make it illegal for any city, county, or state to pass such a law. So we need to realize how precious it is that we have these freedoms just to be able to even pass these laws, because there are people out there that want to prevent us from having that freedom and living in a pesticide-free environment, which we should have a right to do. I'm sorry, I am really sick and tired of being poisoned by local businesses, by my neighbors, with their out there with this chemical weapons, spraying it around. It's just not right. We're putting this in the hands of people that don't know how to use it, and they're out there with no protective gear, which is not good for them. So again, it's people that they just don't know. There has been no education. They just throw this stuff out there, and they don't even tell people how dangerous it is. Okay, well, What do you guys think about seafood coming from a lab? Yeah. So now there's an effort to create seafood that's going to be lab grown. And when they grow them, they're not going to have a head, tail, skin, or bones. Just the meat. I mean, does that sound like something you would buy or want? Or does that make you salivate? Like, yum, yum, yum. Okay, well, that's the way these people want to go. They want to be able to mass produce things, make huge profits, and control our food, because that is the biggest market of all in the world, is food. It's controlling what we eat. So that wasn't very good announcement, I thought. And then we have another scientific study that came out, and they found cocaine and other illicit drugs and pesticides in shrimp. Now, how many times, those of you that have been listening to Smart Health Talk and are educated consumers out there know that we have said over and over on this show, do not buy shrimp. I will not eat shrimp. I will not even order it at a restaurant because I don't even know where it came from. The man that discovered the Pacific Garbage Patch, Captain Moore, I personally went on his boat. He told me what it was like in Vietnam and these other places where they're growing the shrimp. And it is disgusting. It is disgustingly dirty. And now they're finding cocaine and illicit drugs in the shrimp. I mean, the only shrimp that I will eat comes directly from Alaska. That is where I get my seafood. I cannot tell you enough the benefits of buying in bulk. Even if you get a couple families together, you save a lot of money and you get it directly from the fishermen delivered to your house. Just like when you go to the farmer's market, you get it directly from the farmer. They are selling us organic, hydroponic, nutrient-efficient food because Driscoll's and these other big mega corporations paid off people. We are fighting it in court right now because it's not right. The organic program is based on soil, not hydroponics, so there's no way that can be possible. But yet it is, because the chemical company wants to take over. And when I go to the farmer's market, they're not slipping me some hydroponic organic. No, I'm getting it from a farmer that grew it in the ground. And they haven't gassed it and waxed it and did all kinds of weird stuff to it. It's just food the way it's supposed to be. And I see the face of the person that grew it, and I know where it came from. And I can go to their farm, and I have went to farms of some of my local farmers. And I know, when I buy it, I know exactly, I can picture in my head the farm that it actually was grown at. People just don't understand the level of security that gives you and comfort to know exactly where your food came from, exactly who grew it, and to know that it wasn't messed with secretly along the line, because they put some nasty stuff on, and they even have fake food out there like you wouldn't believe. It's amazing what they can do. See, now here's another example of how these people want to screw us. They want to take, it's called a CRISPR technology. It's different than a genetically modified organism. A genetically modified organism is where they take a strand of DNA and they splice it in. With CRISPR, they play with the different genes within that plant. They turn them on, they turn them off, and it's just the thing is, they're doing this, and we are going to have no idea that we are buying a product that has been changed in that way. And I can tell you from all of my research and all my guests, there's a very, very important fact that you should know. And that is, if you change an atom within a protein, your body knows it. It knows that it's a foreign substance because guess what? The food, the real food out there that we eat, we evolved with that food. Our bodies evolved with that food. We know when something is food and when it's not, when it's a chemical man-made product. Our body knows this. And so we're changing the proteins in these foods. We are changing them. Our body knows it. And guess what happens? Allergic reaction. You wonder why you have all these allergies to foods? Well, that's because they've been messed with. They've been poisoned. So many different ways they've been changed. So that's why I say you got to get back to basics. If you feel terrible, if you don't know what's wrong with you, you need to just clean the slate. Just like Zen Honeycutt, I have a great interview on our Smart Health Talk website with her. She started Moms Across America. She had no idea GMOs existed. And as soon as she found out, her son, who had a peanut allergy and had almost died a couple times, I mean, it was close. She went and took everything that was not organic out of her house and only started feeding her family organic food. And her son's peanut allergy went away completely. When he tested, he didn't even have a reaction to peanuts anymore. These pesticides are doing things to us that we cannot even imagine. They are doing things to our children. Please, if you have a baby, do not feed them. I'm hoping that you're breastfeeding, but if not, please don't buy regular conventional formula. Only buy organic formula. It is full of pesticides. It is full of GMOs. You do not want this in your baby's body. It will affect their health. It will affect their growth. It will affect their brain and their ability to learn, because that is what these pesticides do. Again, neurotoxin. All right? Now, and the fake perfumes that we talked about in the deodorant, those are hormone disruptors. Hormone disruptors. That's how they cause breast cancer. Okay? It all starts to make sense when I say it enough, you'll get it. Keep listening to the show. Okay. Now, another good news. New York has banned chlorpyrifos. Now, when I told you about Hogan, and when he took office, he immediately stopped all the environmental changes, positive environmental changes that the state of Maryland was ready to implement after years of research. After years and years of research, we know without a doubt chlorpyrifos, this one pesticide, destroys our kids' brains. Now, if you look at a picture that I have on my homepage of smarthealthtalk.com, you can see two drawings. And one of them is made by a child that was normal, and another one with one that had been exposed to chlorpyrifos. You will see the drawings are nowhere near the same. It is clear that there is a mental defect going on there. And if this is your child, who wants a child with a lower IQ, with autism, with an inability to connect emotionally? That is what this does. And if you go and find that picture or the brain that we have, and it shows the difference in a brain a scan as well, we have that on our homepage. When you see that, I mean, it's obvious what this stuff is doing. There is no doubt, okay? We were going to get rid of it. President Trump decided we will continue to destroy our children's brain, and that Dow Chemical was more important than our children, and decided to reverse that and allow the pesticide to continue to be used. Well, states are now taking action since the federal pooped out. Okay, so New York banned it. California, is in the process of banning it. It has passed the first committee, and it is moving forward. I would highly recommend, and don't think this isn't powerful because it is, you call your representatives and tell them that you support the effort to ban chlorpyrifos. Okay, if you forget that word, just go to smarthealthtalk.com and you can find that on our homepage, the CT scan of the two different brains, one on chlorpyrifos, one not, and it's shocking. Okay, we're all happy when our kids bring home good grades, right? We don't want to hear that our kid is failing in school. And if you don't want that to happen, then keep this stuff away from your child. Okay. Now, the fact that we have this CRISPR technology out there, it makes things even more scary. Because they're finally going to label GMOs. We still don't have it. And the GMO label looks like a friggin' sunflower. Like it's like, oh, it's all just sunflowers and happy good things, you know. It's not GMOs sprayed with Roundup, which is what it really is. So they try to make it look like it wasn't harmful when it is. So we still have not seen that GMO label yet. And this gene edited stuff, it's not going to have to be labeled. And so what their plan is to create some soybean oil that's been gene edited, and that it will have the same high oleic properties of olive oil that makes it so healthy. And they're going to take down the olive oil market in favor of this gene edited soybean oil. No, thank you. I want olive oil. You know that they talk about like that in the Bible even, I think, you know? You know where it grows on trees and we squeeze out that great, rich, nutrient-dense oil that is like extremely good for our bodies and our skin and our hair and our immune system and all kinds of things. We're gonna abandon olive oil in favor of some lab-created, gene-edited soybean oil. I mean, this is how these people are thinking out there. This is why we have to be on our toes. Because they have this technology and they think, oh, I get to be God and like change this and change that. When changing one atom in a protein is actually causing an allergic reaction in our body. And that inflammation can be the cause of every single disease out there. Inflammation is your enemy, big time. So anything that you're doing that's causing this inflammation in your body is setting yourself up to get a disease. Okay, what was the next? Okay, I really want to ask people also to be really careful if you have rats, gophers. Don't use poison, rat poison. I have used it before, but I used it when I knew I had more of a controlled situation. Like I knew the rat was like in the attic or under the house. And so the chances of it like going outside were going to be a lot less. But I really try to, I'm not going to use it out in the open because that rat poison is changing the DNA of bobcats. It's killing all kinds of birds of prey because what happens is the rat eats the rat poison, it goes outside, and it dies outside, and then a bird of prey comes and eats it. And so we need our bird of prey because they're the ones that are killing the rats. And then we're killing the rat with poison, and then we're killing the very thing that would kill the rats for us in the beginning, and we wouldn't even need the poison. So, and I happen to I've had some hawks, 2 hawks in a tree that we used to have next to our house, and it was just the most incredible thing. Those birds of prey are just, the eagles, we talked about those, all of those are victims of these poisons that we choose to use. I'm really good at traps. I've talked about the gopher trap, the black box, the Victor black box gopher trap. I have actually trapped over 70 gophers in my yard alone. If they would have been allowed to procreate, it was already, they were destroying my entire yard, front and back. But if they would have been allowed to multiply even more, can you imagine? But I tell you, that black box, it works really good. I'm going to make a video and show everyone how to use it. Okay. Now, beekeepers are really, it's that time of year when people are going down and they're going to buy, flowers to plant in their yard. Please read the label. Make sure there's no neonicotinoids. These pesticides that one seed coated with it can kill 360,000 bees actually stays in the plant for 3 years. So you go buy a plant at Home Depot that's been sprayed with neonicotinoid pesticides and you put it in your yard and you're actually poisoning bees and butterflies and other pollinators for 3 years. And the tiniest amount is all it takes to poison them. What's worse is the nicotine in it actually makes them addicted to the pesticide, the very thing that kills them. Okay, so I'm begging everyone, please be really careful. We have milkweed. Please go check out our Blue Monarch project. We actually have some nectar plants, some really great nectar plants. We have all kinds of milkweed, a few thousand of them. We need people to plant as much milkweed as they can to help our monarch butterflies. We haven't seen one yet. We're hoping they're going to get here. I'm going to be very bummed if I don't see one. Please go and find us at bluemonarchproject.com, and you can order milkweed. We'll deliver it to you or we'll ship it to you. We could really use your help planting milkweed, and we have a really good price on our milkweed. It's extremely healthy, and it's actually, most all of it's been growing for about 2 years or more. So you'll get a really big bush, and then you'll get seeds, and then you'll have your own seeds, and then you'll have a bunch of milkweed. So it works out really good. All right, so what we were going to talk about, to wrap it up here, we're going to talk about a few things that we can do to reduce global warming. And of course, we want everyone to buy organic because we're finding out more and more what kind of a role that the soil plays in reversing climate change. And we're really getting the science to proving that is important. So when you buy organic, right there, you're doing a big one. And the biggest thing of all, don't burn fossil fuels such as oil, carbon, natural gas, and replace them with renewable and cleaner sources of energy. And actually, the price of solar is going to be cheaper than fossil fuels by next year. That's what they're predicting. So solar is becoming cheap, everyone. And just using a car, that right there is adding to it. And planes, big time. Planes take up a lot of fuel. So flying less, burning less fossil fuels, buying local, buying organic. We need system-wide changes. We need to look at deforestation, waste management, those kind of things as well. But just think that those things that's something that you can do. Just find ways that you're doing less. Eat less meat. choose more vegan options, but choose organic vegan options, because otherwise you're just poisoning yourself, because a lot of the vegan options are GMO and full of pesticides. So vegan options is another great way. So just, choose a vegan meal. We've talked about beans. That's one of our favorites. And so see, these are all doable. And we have so much great information on our resource section on Smart Health Talk. And if you're interested in monarch butterflies, please reach out to us as well. Just info at Blue Monarch Project or Elaine at smarthealthtalk.com. And, we could actually, there used to be billions of monarchs right here in the Inland Empire. But again, like we talked about at the beginning of the show, we could be responsible for 1 million species becoming extinct. The monarchs have been here for millions of years. Are we going to be responsible for that? We still have a window of opportunity. Let's do everything we can. And I tell you, if you grow milkweed, children love it. They love, watching the caterpillars and watching them turn into a chrysalis, which looks like a little jade jewel box with diamonds. And then the butterfly comes out and the metamorphosis happens, and it's one of the most amazing, magical things of all. And I tell you, I've talked to people that has changed their life. They have become scientists. They have that as one of their most cherished memories of sharing with a grandparent or a parent, that experience of watching the butterfly emerge, and they never forget it. And so, let's make some of those memories, everybody, and plant some milkweed, and let's help the monarchs, okay? And please, no pesticides. Be careful about what you buy. But we appreciate it. We need nectar flowers out there, but you can buy organic seeds too, okay? But talk to the people, check the label, and ask, were pesticides used? Thanks so much. I'm Elaine McFadden. Tune in again next Tuesday, 4 o'clock. Bye.
Will the birds and the bees
KCAA Loma Linda, 1050 AM, 106.5 FM,